Welcome into the Railsplitter Athletics Report. A brand new season, a brand new athletic calendar on tap here. I'm your host, Adam Haley. A brand new format for this season. We're going to be taking a lot more out of the studio and out of our control room and showing you more of the fields and the courts where the coaches and the players will be playing at, as well as introducing you to some new people along the way. Some of our correspondents will be Brandon Burke and Danny Valdez, who some of you may know as a former LMU baseball player, and if you've listened to WLMU FM in the previous times in the mornings, you know him as DJ Danny V, and we'll see him a little bit later on in tonight's show. But as we said, a brand new season coming up here for Railsplitter Athletics. We've already actually technically got started here in the month of September with soccer and women's volleyball, and the cross-country teams are already in action with men's and women's golf to come a little bit later on. That's going to bring us to our first break, though, here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. When we return, we had an opportunity about 3 weeks ago to sit down with the athletic director, Matt Green, to talk about the upcoming athletic calendar as well as some of the renovations going on around Lincoln Memorial University. And you'll see that as you will return to the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Welcome back to Railsplitter Athletics Report. We're now joined alongside by the athletic director here for Lincoln Memorial University, one Matt Green. Matt, first off, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk about you, the athletics department as a whole. But first, let's talk about you. 1 year on the job. What's the ride been like for the first year?
It's gone very fast, very, very fast, but it's been an enjoyable one, getting to know this area and this institution and all of our great people. It's been a lot of fun. Had a lot of accomplishments in year one, a tribute to our student athletes and coaches, and so looking forward to a great year two.
Is there anything that when you took the job to now that you weren't expecting that you actually had to deal with in the past year?
You know, surprisingly enough, not really. You know, when I was going through the interview process, I think LMU did a fantastic job of giving me the lay of the land and what to expect, and I think everybody talks about the great people that we have, but until you're actually here, you don't really understand. And so if there was one surprise, it was the level of buy-in, not only on campus, but off campus and in this community that we have. We're very, very fortunate to be where we are.
You've got a really good support staff here with Cam Wicker, Mike Smith, Lisa Jones in the athletics office as well. We
do, and Cam being new as well. You know, we kind of came in at the same time, and he's just been fantastic. Picking up the marketing and promotions piece, and he's kind of a jack of all trades. Mike, who's been here for a long time and knows the ins and outs of LMU. He's seen it from a student's perspective, a coach's perspective, and now an administrator. So he's very, very valuable to the team. And Lisa's been in so many areas on this campus that she's got that great corporate knowledge. So really have a fantastic team supporting me, and that's what we need. You know, we need great people around us to help us get better.
Now, obviously, before you came here, you had done a lot of things within athletic departments at previous schools. Did you ever expect in your first year of having the level of achievement that all the different teams had in your first year as athletic director?
No, I think when you come in, I knew the tradition that we had here, and we've got an exceptional tradition for sure, and we're adding a lot of new sports, and so there are a lot of new things combining with the old. But you know, I think one thing that I loved when I got here was just the energy and the fact that the level of expectation was rising. You know, you want to be at a place where there's a lot of energy and passion and the willingness to get better and work hard, and we have a group of coaches that do that. And so it was really a matter of me coming in, getting to know everybody, seeing kind of what made everybody tick, see how I could push, and our coaches responded.
You mentioned adding sports. For the past 2 or 3 years, LMU keeps adding sports, and it's no exception this athletic calendar year with men's and women's bowling and men's volleyball coming on board.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. You know, now we'll have 25 intercollegiate athletic programs, which is incredible. And it's taken a lot of buy-in from not only the athletic staff, but the institution as a whole, to welcome on 3 new varsity programs, not to mention our beach volleyball program will be in year 2. We're also going to have junior varsity men's and women's golf teams for the first time. So that's a lot of buy-in from the institution. And I know from the president on down, everybody's excited about our new programs. I am as well. We're going to host our first bowling event on September 17th. So I think everybody's curious and excited at the same time. So a lot going on, but we're really excited.
And any other new sports coming potentially next year, the year after?
Not that I know of right now, but don't put it beyond us. We're always looking for ways to improve and get better and serve students. And I think we're in a unique situation here at LMU. We've got the opportunity to serve students and student athletes. And so I think we're always going to look at ways that we could enhance the student experience at LMU. And whether that's through varsity intercollegiate athletic programs or through club sports, I think we're open to a lot of things.
Are there any fall sports that maybe, obviously the one that's always mentioned is football. Probably not going to happen here at LMU, but I've noticed a trend with all the sports that have been added probably in the first 2 or 3 years. They're all in the spring. Has there been any thought of maybe moving some to the fall or looking at a fall sport?
Well, I think that's more happenstance. You want to look at sports that fit within the institution and our mission, and also the financial feasibility of adding programs. And it just so happens that bowling happens to be, it's really a fall and spring sport. It's more along the lines of winter like basketball. And then men's volleyball just so happens to fall in the spring. So I know Mary Mars Gym and the rest of campus is going to get a big workout come this spring with the added spring sports.
If people have been paying attention to the campus and even down Highway 63, they've noticed there's a lot of changes coming to the university when it comes to athletic fields. Lacrosse has already been put out there in Harrogate City Park. There's the indoor tennis complex. Baseball and softball are getting ready to move. Talk about the facility moves and all the different venues and upgrades. Forgot about the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, you asked me, was I surprised about anything in my first year? And again, I knew there was a commitment from the board, the president, administration on down, but I didn't understand the level. And that level is high. And so when you talk about the Valley of Sports down at Harrogate City Park, the lacrosse building, which is nearing completion, indoor tennis as well, baseball and softball, which we're looking to have for next year, which would be phenomenal. We're going to have some of the best facilities in NCAA Division II. So I know a lot of those spring sports are really looking forward to. In lacrosse's case, they're going to be playing at their new facility this spring, which is an exciting thing for them, being in year 3. And now finally having those locker room facilities and coaches' offices in a brand new field. It's exciting for them. So the outdoor sports definitely going to be taken care of. And then you mentioned the scoreboard. We had a unique opportunity to bring in a 4-sided center-hung LED scoreboard, remnant of what you'll see at the University of Tennessee in Thompson Bowling. And an opportunity came forward. Some people in the community really stepped up and supported that initiative. And so it's going to allow us to feature that this year, sooner rather than later. And then we'll be installing that here within the next month or so.
That kind of puts Tex Turner's always been one of the top, probably within the Southeast region that I know of, maybe more. But adding that scoreboard is really going to put Tex Turner maybe at the top of the heap at Division II athletics and arenas.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You've got a facility here that's 25 years old. It doesn't look 25 years old. A lot of schools that come in here, they think maybe this is a 10-year-old facility, but it's 25 years old, due for some upgrades for sure. And one of those was the scoreboard. And the capability of that scoreboard, I don't think we'll be able to tap into the full potential in year 1. Hopefully we'll be able to do that year 2 and 3 as we become more accustomed to it. But you talk about the wow factor that this facility already has, and now being able to walk in from that top level as a spectator or from that bottom level as a student athlete or visiting student athlete and just see that big 17 by 12.5 foot board up there, it's going to be incredible.
South Atlantic Conference, a lot of people already know Brevard's going to be leaving after this athletic calendar year. We've talked a little bit in the summer. Being with the other athletic directors and the presidents of these universities and colleges, what is the future of the South Atlantic Conference in expansion?
Well, I think losing Brevard, obviously going from 12 to 11 institutions, it's something that we're looking at and to make sure we have contingency plans in place, and that was done well before I got here. But I think the South Atlantic Conference is in a good position. We've got some strong institutions in our league, like-minded institutions. We're in a good position. I think we're in a position where we can look at the landscape, and it's an ever-changing landscape in college athletics. Anything that happens at the Division I level trickles down. And so Division II is seeing a little bit of that. So we want to make sure that any institutions that we bring into our league, into our brotherhood and our family, that they're like-minded institutions, strong institutions that are going to bring value to the South Atlantic Conference. And so there are several scenarios out there. I think, fortunately, we're in a position where we don't have to panic, but we can strategically look at that landscape and try to pick out some institutions.
Looking at the landscape, I mean, we talked about Brevard's dropping down to Division III. In Conference Carolinas, Pfeiffer's going to be dropping to Division III. North Greenville just joined the Gulf South Conference as a football-only member. The Peach Belt, Montevallo just joined the Gulf South Conference as a full-fledged member. Do you see the way the landscape's kind of turning, that it may turn toward the South Atlantic Conference, or are we going to see a big boom in those 3 different conferences?
I think so. I think there's always going to be movement. You know, you've got the private-public school dynamic that drives some of these moves, and institutions that are probably looking from a financial standpoint, geographic standpoint, to find a better fit. You know, the landscape in Division II has changed so drastically over the last 10 years, with a lot of reclassifying institutions coming from NAIA to Division II, needing that conference sponsorship. Well, maybe that conference sponsorship that you first had isn't the best fit now. So looking across the landscape, and not only the Southeast region, but you mentioned the Gulf South and the South region, and seeing maybe some schools that are on the edge there, that it might make more sense for them to be in the South Atlantic Conference and Southeast region.
Talk about the stability of LMU, because again, I've already named 2, Brevard and Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer is the #1 ranked team in men's soccer, defending national champs, and they're going down to Division III. The stability of LMU as an institution at the Division II level.
We're fortunate. I mean, we're in a great position when you just look at higher education itself, a level 6 institution. We've got a medical school, a law school, a veterinary school, a lot of graduate and professional programs that allow us to do what we do at the undergraduate level. So I think that's where higher education is moving, and we've had some forward-thinking board members and administrators that have gotten us in the forefront of the higher education environment. So we're in a great position from a financial standpoint, and I think you know, we need to be able to use that going forward, and knowing our position as an institution and how we fit with some other institutions in our league that are also strong financially. And you know, hopefully, you know, we're very inviting to some potential members in the future.
We've sitting here talking about conference expansion. Do you see? We've talked about Division IIs may move around a little bit here and there. Do you see maybe a Division I moving down, or Division III coming up?
I think you can see that. Probably not so much a Division III moving up, but a lower Division I maybe moving down, and you see that cost of attendance initiative at the Division I level. That's really created that larger divide between the haves and the have-nots. And so from an institutional perspective, what makes more sense financially? What makes more sense? You know, do we drop down to the Division II level and have great programs overall, or do we put all our eggs in a couple of baskets and just fund those major sports and stay at the Division I level? That's a conversation that a lot of lower level Division I schools are having with the new Fair Labor Standards Act. You know, do we continue to staff and resource our athletic department at this level, or do we look at trying to adjust and move down? So I think, you know, Division II and our region, we could be the beneficiary there of some added members in the future.
You mentioned the staff. Let's go back to the LMU Athletics staff as a whole, from coaches on down. We looked at it last year in the summer and through the off seasons. Only one person was hired. That was you. Now, from the off season to where we're getting ready to start again, no head coaching turnover at all at LMU. That's a great accomplishment for any college or university.
Yeah, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right? You know, if you're having success, sometimes that lends itself to turnover. And, you know, we're fortunate to be able to keep Coach Schertz here after all the success that they had. And at the same time, we've been able to strategically add pieces. So when you look at Rochelle Black coming from Murray State as our new director of track and field and cross country, that's a strategic addition that I think is going to make us better. You know, we're adding sports. We're able to bring on personalities and coaches that help us as an institution, as a department, that supplement what we do. You know, able to bring in a new director of spirit programs to build on the foundation that we have that's been built over the last 8 or 9 years, and now we're able to take it to another level. So I think the strategic additions have been what's highlighted our summer, and what I'm looking forward to seeing play out this year.
I mentioned it makes an athletic director's job easy when athletic teams and those coaches are performing well on the field and on the court, so you don't have to make that tough decision.
Right, and you know, some other additions we were able to make, again, kind of behind the scenes, a few full-time assistant positions, which will again help our head coaches in certain programs be even better and serve our student athletes more. So you're right. I can only be as successful personally as the people I have around me. I rely heavily on all of our administrative staff, on all of our coaches, and trust them to do the right thing, and they in turn trust me to try to put them in positions to succeed. And so I can't do what I do, we can't do what we do in the athletic department without the support of the institution and within our department, all of the pieces.
Some new additions or new things that was added to the website, LMURailsplitters.com, was the Splitter podcast.
Yeah.
Presented by Papa John's, I should say.
There you go.
But the podcast is something new, and there's now press conferences for the coaches that are in active season each week that we've been kind of being a part of, that other people in the community will eventually get part of.
Yeah, we've got a great story to tell here. We've got, for the first time, over 350 student athletes here. And so, how do we tell the story of all of our kids that come from such diverse backgrounds and are getting opportunities for the first time, or are representing LMU in a first-class way, or serving their community, or going abroad? We've got a great story to tell, and so we thought that it would be beneficial to enhance the amount of exposure that our student athletes and coaches get, and maybe some programs that don't see as much of the limelight. And so providing them that platform every week through a podcast or through media availability, I think it's something that's going to catch on. We appreciate the partnership with LMU Sports Network and everything that you guys are doing for us and continue to do, and just to get the word out and the story out, because we've got so many special young men and women out here representing LMU and not only competing on the field or on the court, but excelling in the classroom, in the communities, and back home as well.
A new partnership that you all, as the athletics department, signed on last year, I believe it's really going to get into full motion this year, is with Nike. That's got to be huge for not only the fact that LMU is going to be associated with Nike, but it's that national exposure.
Yeah, it's branding and marketing.
Yes.
Branding and marketing, but at the surface and at the base level, we want to provide our student athletes with the best possible experience, and part of that experience is academic. A good amount of that experience is athletic, but also how we treat them, the apparel that we provide them. Are we giving them the best? And I think we're able to give them the best through Nike, and also our partnership with Lowe's Sporting Goods. I think when it comes to service and actual quality, this agreement is something that I know excited a lot of people. I know our kids and our coaches are jumping on board, and for me, being a Nike guy, it was great to see that swoosh going around campus. But it's all about providing our student athletes with the best possible experience and the best possible apparel, and knowing that they're equipped and they're safe, and also they like what they got.
You think Nike, Division I level, you think a lot of different places, and locally you got UT just signed on a few years ago. Kentucky's been Nike. How did LMU get involved with them?
Well, we had a few contacts. We were lucky. Again, the region that we're in, it's become a very Nike-friendly area, and so we had a few contacts and were able to get in touch with the Southeast Regional Rep at Nike, and through those contacts he had heard about LMU and our exciting trajectory and the success of certain programs, and so they were excited to jump on board. And we're in a unique situation. We are a Division II institution. We're not UT. We're not Kentucky. We don't have football, but at the same time we have a lot to offer, and I think that Nike saw that, and they were willing to jump on board with us.
Has the travel as an athletic director got to you yet after 1 year? Because you go to a lot of away games, but not depending on whatever sport it is.
That's what I love about my job. So, it may be a little tiring, but it's a small price to pay. That's where I get the joy from my job. We do a lot of things, as you know. You all do the same thing, a lot of things behind the scenes, but you don't get as much joy in anything that you do. You don't get as much as when you see those kids out there competing and loving what they do, loving playing with their teammates, and when they're able to win championships and excel and reach personal and collective goals. That's where we get the joy. So absolutely love going out and just watching practice. I haven't been able to get out to as many practices this fall as I did last fall, and so I'm working on that. But any chance I have, obviously home games I try to be at, but anytime I get a chance to travel and see our kids compete, I just absolutely love it.
Soccer gets everything started September 1st, I think, is their first game. It's on the road. September 7th, I think, is the first home game. Men's soccer and women's volleyball split that day. There's going to be a lot of stuff getting ready to kick off here on this campus. What are you looking forward to, maybe not just in the fall, but over the entire athletic calendar coming up?
I think I'm looking forward to the buy-in, the collective buy-in of our student body. I thought we made some great strides last year in student attendance, and I thought that the game environment and atmosphere was just phenomenal. A lot of that credit goes to Cam Wicker and the work that he did, and so I'm excited to see that kind of spill over, given the success that we had, and see if we can carry that forward. You know, the comeback of Abe's Army, you know, that was fun to see, and you know, our student services and academic affairs department did a great job during Welcome Week incorporating our new students into what it means to be a Railsplitter. So they learned the fight song, they learned some of the band's big time cheers and numbers, and they were excited about being here. So definitely looking forward to the competitions. You know, that gets our juices flowing. As former athletes, we love that competition piece. But it's also great to see the buy-in from the campus community and just see the support that they're willing to give us.
You mentioned Abe's Army. That's the student section essentially here on campus. There is something the community can get involved with, and that's the L Club.
Yeah, the L Club, I tell you what, we were really amazed at the response that we got last year. You know, we kind of re-energized the L Club a little bit, and we had 150 members last year. And this year we were not even, you know, we're about 2 weeks into school, and we've already got 150 members this year. So again, it goes back to that buy-in, and not just on campus, but the people in the community, parents of student athletes. I think everybody's getting on board with the energy and the trajectory of our programs, and that's just another way to see that at work. And so we've beefed up the L Club a little bit this year, trying to provide a few more things. You know, we have the early bird special, $50 for a membership through September 1st. After that, it goes up to $100. But I think that the value people get, I think they enjoyed their experience last year. And again, it's about doing what we can for the kids and building a culture of support. And I think that's what the L Club is all about.
What, if you get the membership, what does the L Club have with it?
Well, you get season passes to men's and women's basketball and volleyball this year. Men's and women's volleyball, we'll be charging for that. So you get season passes. You get premier parking at the lower level here at Tex Turner Arena. You get access to our hospitality room, which is catered by Chartwells, and they do an outstanding job. You'll get a T-shirt this year. You'll get some invitations. We've got our Lincoln Awards at the end of the year. We've got a golf outing at the end of the year, and then we're going to look to do an end-of-the-year social for L Club members and some other things throughout the year. You know, we've got opportunities too. So again, just trying to improve the outreach, the communication, but also that support for our kids.
Okay. Well, we're getting close to the end of the interview, and I told you before we went on camera that you've been on the job 1 year. I wanted to test you a little bit.
I'm dreading this.
I've got five trivia questions here. So we're going to see how well Matt Green knows a little bit of the history of LMU. You ready?
I'm ready.
Question 1. Can you name 3 different conferences LMU's been in?
Ooh, the Gulf South Conference.
The current one can count.
Okay, the South Atlantic Conference.
So there's 2.
The VSAC.
There's 3.
There we go.
What coach that is active currently on your staff has been here the longest? The longest active tenured coach?
Coach L.
It is Coach L.
14 years, right? This is 14th year?
He started in 2003.
There we go.
So
okay.
2 for 2. True or false? LMU has had a football team in its history.
False.
It is true.
Gosh.
It is true.
You know what? It's funny that you say that. I've been asked by students that are going through some master's courses, and they want to interview me about football all the time. Really, it's about should we have a team.
Yeah.
And there's a rumor out there that you know we had football, but we don't anymore. And there are a couple donors that said we'll never have football, and so maybe I'll have to pick your brain and see exactly what's true and what's not.
That may be more of a Bill Porter question, but
Yes.
I'm pretty sure back in the late 1800s there was a football team. Which brings us to question 4. Before they were the Railsplitters, what was their nickname?
You know what? I don't know that answer.
They were the Airedales.
The Airedales.
Yes. Don't
Wow.
ask me what an Airedale is, but that's what they were called.
Those are 2 great nicknames.
I know, right?
To have in your history.
I mean, Railsplitters is automatically one you think about that's unique to anywhere.
Right.
And then you have, Airedales before that. So.
It's great.
Matter of fact, I'll save that little tidbit because it's kind of part of the answer for question 5. We did a little research, and we found 5 venues, sporting venues on this campus that have names associated with them, whether it be a donor or a previous person. Can you name at least 4 of them?
Well, Mary Mars.
As one.
Hamilton Math and Science.
Athletic venues.
Athletic venues. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, Lamar Hennon Field.
And you still got Mary Mars. So
And
there's
Mary
2.
Mars. Dorothy Neely Field.
There's 3.
Tex Turner Arena.
Yeah, the one we're sitting in,
Yeah.
there's 4. And we also had the Poteet tennis facility.
Correct, yes.
So that was the 5 that we came up
I didn't
with.
do too bad.
No, not at all.
Right?
Going back to football, though, from what I understand from reading, Lamar Hennon, I believe, maybe played a little football here.
Wow.
And if we're wrong, Bill Porter will let us know.
He will. He will. He will be banging down my door in the near future, for sure.
Absolutely. But
Yes.
Matt, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a fun time. I'm sure we'll catch up with you throughout the rest of the athletic seasons as we continue going.
We look forward to it. Thanks to you guys again for all your coverage and support.
And if you come to an athletic event, I guarantee, more than likely, he will be there in some capacity if he's not at some kind of convention for the NCAA. So Matt, again, want to thank you, and we'll be right back with more Railsplitter Athletics Report right after this.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you're beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. The whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
That's
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family?
This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry.
Go along, son!
it's always worth it.
Whoa, master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Welcome back as we get ready to finish off the first episode here in the newest season of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Before we leave, let's let you know about some of the things. As we said in the open, a lot of the teams have already started action. Coming into tonight and into the weekend, the LMU volleyball team and men's soccer team have already actually had their first home games here at Lincoln Memorial University. The volleyball team on Wednesday night defeated Tusculum College 3-2. The men's soccer team that same afternoon defeated Southern Wesleyan 3-1. The men's soccer team is 2-1 now on the season. Women's volleyball at 4-1 on the season. Women's soccer, they'll open up their home schedule this weekend against Lee University. The Flames, that's a Sunday afternoon. Women's soccer comes in with an 0-2 record, as we said, starting off their home opener against Lee. That match is set for 2 o'clock at the LMU Soccer Complex again on Sunday. It is Patriot Day, with it being 9/11. Clay Stanford will have the call. We'll have live video via LMURailsplitters.com. Don't want to leave it out. Men's soccer, they're on the road this weekend. They will be at Young Harris. That is a Saturday matchup with Young Harris. That is a regional matchup for Coach L and his team. And the cross-country team will also be down in Greenville, South Carolina on Saturday, as they'll be at the Furman Invitational, their second meet of the 2016 fall schedule. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Once again, we thank you for joining us. I'm Adam Haley, and we'll see you next week with more Railsplitter Athletics Report.